Okay, welcome back ladies and gentlemen, to the third part on the Cub Cadet original with yours truly, Kenneth Updike. Last night we left off with the steering on the Cub Cadet. Tonight we will continue with the frame. The original Cub Cadet tractor has a wheelbase of 42.7 inches. It also has 6 inches of ground clearance that turns into 6.75-foot circle. The original measures 38 inches tall to the top of the steering wheel. IH produced its own hardware, nuts, bolts, washers and more, at its West Pullman, Illinois factory. The bolts have a small IH on the bolt head. In late 70s the IH was removed and replaced with a WP4, West Pullman. All IH-built machines are factory-equipped with IH-made hardware whenever possible. The West Pullman works also produced IH's ball and roller bearings. IH used a combination of Timken and IH-made bearings in their tractors whenever possible. Other brands of bearings were used sparingly. Bearings stamped with an L, or L, M are Timken, while the S, T prefixed bearings are IH-made. Most of the bearings tractors were IH-made. The use of IH or West Pullman branded bolts, IH ball bearings, and Timken bearings continued through the Cub Cadet's production life with IH. Electrical components. IH used a Delco Remy supplied 12-volt starter generator with external regulator to provide electrical power for the Cub Cadet tractor. The model 110195 or 110196 starter generator and model 111899 external regulator were used and painted black by Delco, but they were repainted yellow by IH during the assembly process. The 110196 replaced both of these units and was replaced by the 111997 in May 1965. This unit provided greater starting torque than the previous model. The starter generator was bolted to the right side of the engine before being painted. The starter generators are 12-volt negative grounded. The voltage regulator was mounted directly ahead of the battery and behind the fuel tank. Electric starting of the original was similar to larger IH farm tractors. A single position key switch was turned on or off and a push-button switch was depressed to engage the starter generator. For those tractors equipped with recoil start, electrical components were not available. A magneto-kill switch was mounted on the left side of the steering pedestal. When the switch is pulled out, the engine can run. To shut the engine off, push the switch in. This switch was the same magneto switch used on IH farm tractors. A 12-volt Autolite brand battery, LU7, was standard issue on all electric starting tractors. The battery was mounted directly ahead of the steering tower and held in place with an angle iron brace. To access the battery, the hood must be lifted forward. Electric lighting was available as optional equipment on tractors equipped with electric starting. The headlamp assemblies were mounted to the grille housing with pipe brackets. The lamps were supplied by Guide Lamp Company. The light switch was mounted to the left side of the steering dash tower and was a simple, push-pull style switch. A single rear-mounted lamp was also available. This red lens lamp was bolted to the rear fender support. The lamp itself was supplied by either Grote Manufacturing or R.E. Dietz Company. The difference between these two is that the Grote lamp lens is secured with 2 screws. The Dietz lamp lens snaps onto the housing. The starter generators were painted yellow with the ID tag masked off. The fabricated wiring harness was supplied by several vendors, including Packard Electric and Whitaker Cable, and was painted after it was installed. All other electrical components were installed after the tractor was painted. Tires and rims. The front tires were 4.80 by 4.00-8. The rear tires were 6-12 and had 2-ply rating. These tires were supplied by Goodyear. These tires were factory-mounted less inner tubes, or they were tubeless. The front wheel rims were formed from sheet steel and welded to steel tubing. Bronze bushings were pressed into each side of the rims to provide support. A grease zerk is provided in the front wheel rim to lubricate these bushings. The rear wheel rims were supplied to IH by EWC or Firestone. The wheel bolts that attach the rear wheels are cadmium plated and not painted because the rear tires were installed by the dealer. These bolts have a small IH on the bolt head. Cast iron, 26-pound rear wheel weights, part number 3513711R1 were available for the rear wheels. These weights could be used to increase traction and reduce wheel slippage or spin. These same cast iron weights could be bolted to the first pair using longer bolts to supply additional rear weight. Okay folks, stay tuned, we will return with the final part of the series on the paint and product graphics of the IH Cub Cadet Original, with your host, Kenneth Updike. Don't change the dial.